Okay, First Park Homes, gated HOA community of townhomes here in Calamba, Palo Alto, Philippines. Right there's a jeepney. Now it's a gated community, and we've got security that controls the entrance here. And this is gate number 1. Gate number 2 opens up at like 4 p.m. See, we've got the security there, letting people in and out. This is what they call a province town, which is a small town out, out in the boondocks or out in the country, little small country town or a hick town, whatever you want to call it. There's places like this where the average working Filipino lives. I don't like to show, I went to Manila and I did a couple of videos in Manila. I went to Chinatown, but I deleted that one because they said there was copyright issues. But I went to Manila. I went to a park there, did some videos. But I prefer to do videos here where the average people live, This is, in America they call this the blue collar work, blue collar workers, And this is basically the main street through town. A lot of motorbikes, a lot of jeepneys, a lot of tricycles, the occasional jeepney, dolly, which is kind of like a 7-Eleven. We do have a 7-Eleven up at the top of the hill. Right here is one of the garbage trucks. They have traffic laws here, but I've never seen anyone obeying the traffic laws, so you get into the bigger cities where the roads are wider than, like out here in the province. The roads are wider, traffic is chaotic, but at the same time, it's kind of beautiful, watching the motorbikes weave in and out of traffic of all the cars. You've got security for gated communities. Suzuki minivan, a lot of Suzuki vehicles here. My favorite one is the Suzuki S, the letter S and the Impresso. It's just like espresso. That's my favorite car. That's what I'm getting next year. After I get my driver's license here, and my wife gets her driver's license, we're going to get a Suzuki Espresso. It's small, big enough for me, her, and our daughter, which is my stepdaughter. Soon to be my real daughter when I adopt her. But got a pharmacy, a clinic. There's an animal bite clinic here where you go get rabies shots if you get bit. 7-Eleven up the hill. A couple of dollies and a Pier Mart, which is where you can go buy, some groceries. Otherwise, you go to Calamba, the city of Calamba, to a place called SM City Mall. It's about 12 kilometers away. You go there and you go to the SM supermarket and do major shopping. Otherwise, you can buy eggs, rice, some meat, And of course, you got your wet markets where you can buy fruits and vegetables here. You can buy fresh meat straight off the farms from around here. That right there, that's a private jeepney, so to speak. It's not like the ones where you pay to ride wherever to. But for here, I'm seriously considering getting a motorbike like these, something like this, a little 125cc bike. You know, because I've got an e-bike, a Cuda e-bike. It's like this white thing right here. It's basically like a golf cart, but you can only go about 30 kilometers before you have to recharge it. Here's the first thing I bought here. It's all right for just around town. You know, like if I want to go to the store to pick up something or come down to the market and pick something up, you know, I walk because it's not even a 5-minute walk from my house. But you go down that way, it's into another subdivision. One of these days I'm going to go walking down through these subdivisions here instead of just on the main street and do some videos. Maybe I can convince my wife, my stepdaughter. She calls me daddy, so I'm her daddy. So she's my daughter. Maybe I can convince them, now that it's not, you know, so hot here. You know, the weather is cooler now because we're coming up on rainy season. Maybe I can convince them to go walk through these subdivisions with me. But yeah, if you're looking to retire here, don't go to Manila. Don't go to Cebu. Well, definitely don't go to Cebu because, well, they had a 7.8. See right there, the red card. That's an espresso. Great fuel mileage. But yeah, don't go to Cebu because they recently had a 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Destroyed a lot of buildings. Killed a lot of people. And Cebu also subject to a lot of typhoon weather. But yeah, don't go to Manila, don't go to Cebu, don't go to Angeles City. And whatever you do, don't live on the coastline. They're great places to visit, you know, if you're just taking a vacation. But if you're looking to move here, I recommend avoiding them. For one, they're more expensive. I was living in San Pedro, Laguna, Philippines. City, within walking distance of a hospital, walking distance of a mall, walking distance of a wet market, you know, where you get fruits, vegetables, and fresh meat. 7-Eleven close by. The Philippines, in my opinion, is a combination of first, second, and third world countries, which gives it its own special kind of charm. You know? And if you go into these tourist cities and you're on vacation, be extra vigilant. If you're taking pictures or recording videos, be extra vigilant. Oh, and a bike wreck. They call these motorbikes. But no one was hurt. That's one of the problems with them making one lane, you know, in the 2 and 3, you know, 2 and 3 wide here on the motorbikes. And then like that blue thing there, that's gas powered like a motorbike. I'd like to have one of those. Yeah, I've been here for almost a year now. I moved here first week of July in 2025. And since moving here, that is the 4th accident that I've seen. Living in Utah, I was living in the Salt Lake Valley. When I went out, I would see 3 to 4 accidents a day. A lot of stray dogs walking the streets and cats. And it's amazing because in America, dogs and cats, they don't get along. You know, dogs chasing the cats and fighting and everything. Here, they just look at each other and go their own separate way. They don't care. But rabies is a big thing here. Parvovirus is a big thing here. So if you're getting a pet, You have to get all of its vaccinations. Otherwise, it can get parvo and die. Get rabies and die. You know. Otherwise, you keep your dog inside the house if it's a small dog. If you got a medium size or a big dog, yeah, and you want to take them for walks, get their shots. At least get the first 5-in-1 shot before you start taking them for walks. This way they're vaccinated against parvo, which they pick up from other animal, dog, and cat feces. Yeah, these little province towns like this, you'll see more motorbikes than you will cars because the roads are so narrow. It's like that garbage truck that went by. When it's on this street, cars have to pull all the way over to the side and stop to let it get past because they can't drive past it. And right there, Ford Ranger. Now they call it a Ranger, but I'm sorry, that looks like a Ford half-ton to me. A lot of them, you see a lot of Ford Rangers here. I've seen a couple of Ford Mustangs. I've seen one Corvette. I've seen 2 Teslas. But Toyota, Suzuki, Hyundai, Honda. There's an EYB, which is a EV vehicle from China. Geely or Geely. It's Geely. It's all electric. See, in big trucks like this, it's hard for cars to get around them. See, right there, that car had to stop so that it wouldn't get hit. See, there's a Toyota pickup. Now you can catch a jeepney here to go to Calamba, and then take a tricycle to go shopping. See right there, that's a jeepney. It's kind of like a bus for here, Now my Cuda e-bike, I can go all the way to Calamba and go to the SM City Mall and come back. I can go there and go shopping at the SM supermarket in the mall. Go to a place like Unicity, which is like a discount store, but it's big, has clothing and everything. I can drive there and back, and then I have to throw my e-bike on the charger for 6 hours to fully charge it again. But I love it here. Tropical weather, no snow, no below freezing temperatures. I mean, the lowest I've seen it here is 74 degrees Fahrenheit. See, and this is our security here. Hey, doing a video for YouTube. Yeah, I've lived here for almost a year. And I'm showing the people, I'm showing videos on YouTube of where the average person lives. Oh. Not the tourist traps like Manila and Cebu, Yeah, I show areas where if people want to retire and have a nice... No heavy traffic. Yeah, yeah, if people want to have, if they want, if Westerners want to retire here and live a nice, comfortable life, I tell them, don't go to Manila, don't go to Cebu or Angeles City.
Yes, in Calamba.
Yeah, go to San Pedro or Pasita, Santa Rosa, Calamba, Palo Alto,
Fresh air,
yeah.
Calamba.
Get away from the big city and the tourists. The cost of living is not as expensive.
Yes, sir.
I'm on a pension and I live great. Yeah, we were living in San Pedro, and then we bought a...
You post the video.
Huh?
You post the video.
Yeah. Right now I'm still recording. But I'll post it on YouTube when I get home and connect to the Wi-Fi.
It's a beautiful city, sir.
Yeah, it reminds me of my hometown in Tennessee where I grew up. Little small town. It's like, 5,000 people.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it had the population was 5,000 people.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, very tiny. But this kind of reminds me of it, All right, well, you have a good evening. See it right there? That's my CUDA e-bike. Does 30 kilometers per hour, and I can go 30, 35 kilometers before I need to recharge it. You come here, you buy these townhomes. These ones right here are still vacant. They're not, of course, they're not finished yet. They haven't connected them to power because they don't connect them to power until someone says, okay, I want to buy it. And then they connect the power up to it. And then the water's already connected, and the sewage, the sewage line's connected. But the electricity's not hooked up yet. You come over here to the office at the clubhouse, tell them which one you want to buy. You put the down payment. My down payment was $300 US dollars, and I'm paying the monthly payments on the mortgage or the home loan is $200 US dollars a month. Water bill runs me about $3 to $4 a month. Of course, you don't drink the water. You don't drink the water from the taps here because it comes from well water. And I'm going to order a filter system to filter out the sand and all that. For doing dishes, for bathing. And it's about what, $250 to have this filtration system put in. And you buy the 5-gallon, or you buy the 5-gallon jugs, and then you have there's water purification companies all around here. They pick your water jugs up, they go and they fill them with purified water, and bring it back, and it's 30 pesos, which is about like 50 cents for 5 gallons of water. And you have, like, there's me, my wife, and my stepdaughter. We have 2 5-gallon jugs. We go through 10 gallons of drinking water a week. Of course, I also use it. I use it for cleaning. I use the purified water to clean my vegetables because, well, my system, my body is not, you can pick up parasites and stuff from the tap water, even, cleaning your vegetables. So I use the purified water to clean my vegetables. Most people have 2 to 4 of those jugs. There's a guy called Randy in the Philippines. He has 10 jugs that he goes through a month. 50 gallons of water a month because they use it for everything. Because where he lives, the well water is really, really bad. You don't even bathe with it. They fill a 5-gallon bucket up, and then they take what's called a tabo, which is like a little pot, and they get themselves wet. They shampoo their hair, and then they rinse their hair, and then they soap up the body, and then they use that little, it's like a 2-quart pot to rinse the body off with out of a 5-gallon bucket. But yeah, if you go to San Pedro, Santa Rosa, Pasita, Binion, Southwood City, you go, the Laguna district. I'm still in the Laguna region. It's really nice. You can go to the Bay of Manila. You can go to the coast, go visit one of the other islands And that's what we're planning on doing next year, is start visiting other islands. Once we get some work done on the house that I bought, we're having the carport built, you're going to cover the parking. That's going to run us about 35,000 Philippine pesos. So, what? 300, 450, approximately $500 parts and labor to have the roof built over the carport, or over the little driveway parking area there. But yeah, I'm not necessarily saying move to the province. Move to a small, like I said, move to a smaller city that's, not a tourist attract. If you're here on vacation, yeah, go to Manila, go to Cebu, go to Angeles City. Just make sure you stay away from make sure you ask where the safer areas are to go. Stay away from the seedier, more dangerous areas of the towns, because they're there. If you cash is king, not everywhere except your card, debit cards or credit cards, especially like at the little markets. Major stores will take your card. 7-Eleven takes your card, Dolly, Pure Mart, the grocery stores, a lot of the bigger restaurants. Mostly here it's Gcash or Maya, or just cash. But a word of advice, if you're carrying cash, carry smaller bills and smaller coins, like 10 peso, 20 peso, 50 peso coins, 50 peso bills, 100 peso bills, 500 peso bills. Don't carry 1,000 pesos, because as a foreigner, you're going to go and try to buy something. You're going to hand them $1,000, a thousand peso bill for something that's like $100, $200, and they're going to say, sorry, no change. And you really want it, so you tell them to go ahead and just keep the change, because, well, after all, 1,000 pesos is not that much. And the fact of the matter is, they do have change. They have change. But because you're a foreigner, they know you can afford that kind of money. And so they're gonna take advantage of it. Also, you go to these little markets and you ask somebody how much, they're gonna give you the foreigner price. Which is usually, 50 pesos more, 100 pesos more, like $1 or $2 US dollars more than what they would sell it to a local for. And it's not that they're corrupt or greedy. It's just they know you can afford it, and they're not making a lot of money from the locals at these little markets. A lot of these people barely make enough money to pay their bills and have food. Even though it's, by Western standards, it's cheap. A lot of them are lucky because the houses they live in, they're their own. They were their parents' house. It was their parents' house or their grandparents' house or great-grandparents' house. They're not having to pay rent. They just pay the water and the electricity. And then if they want internet, they pay for internet. Of course, everything's here inexpensive by American standards. Like I said, my SSDI is more than enough for me to live and still have money left over. Except for right now for a couple of months, because we just moved into a townhome here and I'm having to pay a little bit extra to get some stuff done. that they don't do. They just basically sell you the shell, and then you have to do, finishing touch-up work, like, concrete for, for where you park your car, and a roof over where you park your car, And it's like the place I bought sat vacant for a long time, and so we had to replace some of the stuff, like for the toilet and for the sink, bathroom sink and the kitchen sink, because the gaskets dried up and everything was leaking. So I had to fix that. But again, $5. Ooh. In America, I would have spent $20 for some of these parts, or $30 for some of the parts that I bought. See, and there's the water delivery in the 5-gallon jugs. But yeah, if you want a vacation and you still want city life, go to Manila, Cebu, Angeles City. Go along the coast, Go to the resorts along the coast. If you want to see how they really live, avoid those places. And of course, avoid the southern islands as a Westerner, because, well, it's not really safe for foreigners. There's rebels down there that don't like the corrupt government here, and they definitely don't like Americans, or Westerners for that matter. But in the Laguna region, really safe, really friendly people. If you're looking to retire, do that. A lot of people, they assume that because you're in the Philippines, you're nowhere close to a hospital. Well, there's a hospital that's like 7 kilometers from where I live, even though I'm out in the country, in a province town. And I could be there really quick in the e-bike. Probably quicker than calling an ambulance and having, and being transported there. My wife could just drive me to the hospital. And it's a modern enough hospital. The only thing is you have to have what's called expat health insurance for foreigners. Okay? Because it's not like the hospitals in America where you go in and they can't refuse you treatment because you can't afford to pay. Or they can't refuse you treatment because you don't have insurance. Here, if it's an emergency, they will stabilize you, but any further medical care you need, you have to pay for it. And then you pay for it, and then with your insurance, they reimburse you the percentage that they cover. Now, it's like when I first moved here, July of last year, it was hot and humid, and my body was not used to that. And I'm talking, 80, 70, 80, sometimes 90% humidity. It was like trying to breathe underwater. And I wasn't healthy because I was eating American junk food all the time. And American processed food, which is not healthy for you. Because, well, that's American food. You can't really find fresh food straight from the farm, fruits and vegetables that are not GMO, meat that's not been fed growth hormones and antibiotics, and corn fed instead of grass fed like they are here. Yeah, they still have processed foods here, but we don't buy the processed foods. We buy our meats and vegetables from these little wet markets here. They bring everything in fresh from the farm every day. You can get fresh fish, and I'm talking fish that is so fresh that it's in a tank of water and still swimming. Okay? Freshwater fish. from fish farms. Pineapples that are picked daily from a farm just not too far from here, a couple of kilometers from here. But yeah, I had a heart attack. I woke up and I couldn't breathe. I told she was my fiance at the time, but I told her I couldn't breathe. We went to the hospital. I don't remember walking into the hospital because as soon as we got into the hospital and they put me in the wheelchair, I died. My heart, I had a heart attack and I died right there on the spot. I was dead for over 3 minutes. They managed to revive me. Now, I was in the hospital for 2 weeks because they had me on they had a feeding tube in me and a ventilator, and was monitoring my heart and everything else. And I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I was in for a week before they took the breathing tube out, which I was glad they finally did because it, my body kept trying to, lungs kept trying to fight against it. And the breathing tube, of course, or the feeding tube, I was glad when that came out because they put the feeding tube all the way through to my intestine, and was feeding me like some kind of formula, baby formula, and it just wasn't filling my stomach up. So when I was finally able to eat solid food again, I was happy. Yeah, all total, Philippine-wise, very expensive. But the total bill was only just over $8,000 US. Now I had the same thing happen to me in the United States a couple years before that. $250,000. And luckily my insurance covered it all. 100%. Because I had SSI and Humana. And so it covered the bill 100%. But it was $250,000 for the same thing. And I was only in the hospital for a week in America. But here it was $8,000. $8,000 US. So yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to end this video. Give me a thumbs up. Please, leave a comment. Watch my other videos. Leave comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me if there's anything that anything you want to see. Unlike the other vloggers, for the Philippines, I don't put my face on camera because you're not watching my videos to watch me, to see me. I figure that you're watching my videos. You want to see what I'm recording. You want to see the people, the businesses, the streets, the houses, not me. But anyway, yeah, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and be safe.